Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for Tuesday, May 23rd. We've got some pretty hefty showers and thunderstorms for today. We already have stuff going early this morning, and that's basically showing that we're going to have some instability around this afternoon. Some of these storms could produce gusts over 45 miles per hour and maybe a little bit of small hail, but the main risk from today will probably be the heavy rainfall, the gusty winds falling just a bit underneath that in terms of how the risk with these storms for today. Similar conditions for tomorrow and potentially even Thursday into Friday. We do have the risk of localized heavy rainfall, excessive rainfall, which could lead to some localized flooding or even the potential of some short-term rises in our rivers and streams across the area where we get that rain to fall. And this pattern continues into Memorial Day weekend and even potentially beyond that. So definitely a warm but unsettled and potentially showery and stormy Memorial Day weekend ahead. Satellite shows southwest flow over us with the low pressure to our west. You can see all these patches of clouds across all the way from Nevada up through Utah into Idaho. These are the areas where we're already seeing showers and thunderstorms, and as those move northeast today, they'll kick off more showers and thunderstorms across our region. We continue to highlight our highland areas for showers and thunderstorms, but the more impacts related to potential flooding across the area. We're starting to see some rises up in the Sawtooth area as well, over towards Chalice, up towards Clayton. So we're including those with the risk for snowmelt and flooding up in the Sawtooth area as well. Otherwise, we're highlighting the rest of the area for that potential of mainly localized flooding, but some of those strong storms and wind gusts definitely today and tomorrow. We may not see that much of a risk for showers and thunderstorms, at least on the flooding side, localized flooding side outside of the highlands and up towards Limhi County as we head into Friday and Saturday. But we'll have to certainly see how those trends continue across the region. So for our forecast today, temperature-wise, we should see some breaks in the clouds later on today. Farther east, it'll be a little bit warmer. Some 80-degree temperatures trying to pop up. Back to the west, temperatures held down just a little bit in the mid-60s in the Stanley Basin, also in the Wood River Valley. Mid-70s for Salmon and Chalice, looking right around 70 over a good chunk of the eastern and southeastern highlands for this afternoon. Now, here are those precipitation amounts. You'll see that through the rest, at least through the afternoon, many areas seeing a few hundredths, maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch. Now you get down into the South Hills where the initial round of showers and thunderstorms, heavier storms later on today, will start to increase the potential of heavier rainfall. Some areas could see over a quarter of an inch. Also up towards Swan Valley and the Big Holes as well. You see that potential shifting and expanding through this evening and overnight. Many areas seeing a tenth to a quarter and a good swath of quarter to half-inch precipitation possible, and even higher amounts in some areas of southeast Idaho, portions of the southeast highlands, and also up around the bench areas as well. So that potential is there. Now, could we see over a half an inch? This is looking at some of the probability forecasts throughout the day today. You'll notice even early this afternoon, maybe, just maybe, a very low chance of any thunderstorms developing. We get a quarter of over half an inch. But, that trend you see picking up as we go through this afternoon, through portions, there's that down around the South Hills area, also into western Wyoming. You start to get into some of these brighter colors. We're talking 30, 40, 50% chance of seeing over a half an inch of precipitation. Now, you'll notice as we go into this evening, that's when we start to see that potentially expanding, coming across the southeast highlands, across a good chunk of the Snake Plain. That trend continues at least through midnight. And again, these probabilities around 30 to 50% of over a half an inch, maybe a little bit higher in some places across the southeast highlands. So we go into tomorrow morning, we start to see those chances of seeing half an inch or more dwindling as we lose some of the instability and the potential for stronger showers and thunderstorms across the area. Doesn't mean we won't see thunderstorms overnight. We're seeing thunderstorms this morning. Would not be shocked to see thunderstorms again tomorrow morning before sunrise. Temperatures tomorrow does look a little bit cooler across the board thanks to a little more cloud cover and showers and thunderstorms across the area. It actually looks like today and tomorrow for sure the most widespread activity may we start to see as the pattern shifts a little bit. We might see some shifting of the more widespread showers and thunderstorms, at least coverage-wise, heading into Friday and into the first part of the weekend. But like I said, that chance is still around. Here are the precipitation amounts for tomorrow. This is through tomorrow afternoon. Again, many areas seeing around 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch over the area. And then a little bit less tomorrow evening. Would not be surprised to see this adjusted just based on how the pattern will evolve. The thing we're talking about, daily showers and thunderstorms, and this type of pattern, you're going to get some general ideas, but pinpointing where we might see heavier showers and thunderstorms, sometimes we won't see that until about 12 to 24 hours out at best. So do expect some of these rain precipitation totals, the coverage, the amount shifting a little bit as we go through the next few days. But into tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, most areas seeing under 1/10 of an inch, some areas seeing 1/10 to 1/4 in a few locations as well. Going back to those probability forecasts, looking at the potential for on Wednesday of seeing over 1/2 an inch. We'll start at sunrise tomorrow morning, going through the rest of the day. You don't see it picking up too much until we get in the afternoon, and you'll notice the main swath of seeing those higher potentials is going to be from the South Hills right along the bench areas into the lower Snake Plain, up towards Rexburg, also up towards St. Anthony as well. And again, some of these probabilities are running 30, 40, 50%, and that trend basically at that point continues in tomorrow evening before dying out as we lose the instability for the evening hours. Going into Thursday, temperatures will be fluctuating, but you see a lot of 60s and 70s in lower elevations, 50s only up in the high country. That trend continues into the weekend. So above normal temperatures, this rainfall, we're going to certainly continue to watch some of our water levels here across the area. We're going to go through our usual run of our graphs, our sites where we have are looking for our flooding potential here across central and eastern Idaho. You'll notice Antelope Creek has gone down, and we're looking at right around the line between minor and action flood stage through the next several days. The trend overall may be down a little bit as we go through the period, as a lot of the lower elevation snow is melting out in a lot of areas, but we still have some higher elevation snow to go in a lot of places. Looking at the Littlewood River there above High Five Creek, we're running right at action stage again, maybe going up just a little bit towards minor flood stage this morning. We'll have to watch this over the next few days to see if we end up with some returning back to some flooding conditions up in that area. We're starting to see some rises for sure on the Salmon River, the Yankee Fork as well. We're starting to push towards the high end of action stage, the low end of minor flood stage at the Yankee Fork, Salmon River gauge near Clayton. We'll be watching that, especially with precipitation coming into the area. And also the Salmon River before Yankee Fork, below Yankee Fork, we're getting towards that action stage level of 9 feet. Valley Creek at Stanley, we talked about some of the water levels up there coming up, and you see we're running right at action stage, pretty close to action stage there, and we'll have to watch that for any additional precipitation and more melting snow coming out over the next few days heading towards the holiday weekend. We continue the downward trend at the Blackfoot River there above the reservoir, but still running well into action stage. The Bear River along the Idaho-Wyoming border solidly at minor flood stage and is expected to remain there for the foreseeable future. We're running into the low end of action stage along the Raft River there near 1 Mile Creek. Now I'm heading back up into the Wood River Valley. The North Fork, the Big Wood River there at Ketchum, we're pushing up into action stage now. As you can see, that's potentially trying to head towards the low end of minor flood stage here in the next few days. The East Fork there on the Big Wood River at Gimlet, we've pushed into minor flood stage at least briefly. So you're going to see this fluctuation, probably action low end of minor flood stage, a lot of these gauges that are at that point now in the days to come. The same with the Trail Creek there around Ketchum. Warm Springs Creek near Ketchum, we're actually pushing moderate flood stage there at this point. We'll have to watch that trend over the coming days as well. And also looking down, going back to the Portneuf River, we'll look at some of the bigger gauges here in just a moment, where we have some of the ensemble forecasting. But some of these gauges, we just have the simple current conditions and just some basic forecasting, and that's what we're looking at the moment. The Portneuf River at Tyhee, we're running an action stage, solidly at action stage, and the Portneuf River at Topaz, we're going to be continuing to run on the lower end of minor flood stage for the next several days. So going back and looking at some of these gauges like we talked about, we're going to go back up to the Big Wood River, the Haley gauge. You'll notice where we are there, and the trend is solidly keeping it in a moderate flood stage for the next several days. There's still some very low end potential, about 15 to 20%, trying to push towards a major flood stage. That's if we get some higher flows in there. Some of this may be dependent on higher precipitation in the area, but certainly you can really bet on us staying at moderate flood stage at that gauge for the next several days. Looking at the Big Lost River there at Howell, we're pushing right around the low end of minor flood stage at the moment. And you'll see the trace there continues to right around that switch between action stage and minor flood stage. We may go a little bit higher. You can see some of the forecasts where actually the official forecast is a little bit lower than kind of where the main forecast trace is, the main potential of where the level could be over the coming days. And heading back down towards the Portneuf River, this is the Portneuf River at Pocatello. The trend continues to be slowly dropping through moderate flood stage down into minor flood stage as we head towards Memorial Day weekend. There's still a small chance we go to major flood. This may be a lot dependent on precipitation over the next few days, especially if we get some heavier precipitation to fall over the river basin going into the holiday weekend. The Henry's Fork at Rexburg, we are looking at going into minor flood, it looks like, over by the time we get towards the end of the week, and staying in minor flood stage for once we get there for the next several days. There's a very, very small chance we could get to moderate, but that's looking well beyond the 10-day forecast, it appears at this point. And finally, the Teton River there near St. Anthony, we continue to climb towards action stage. There's an around 90% chance we do get to action stage by the holiday weekend. We stay in the action flood stage, most of the forecast, the official forecast, the ensemble staying in that area. There's still a 25 to 30% chance we could get to minor. We can't rule out there's a low-end, non-zero chance of getting to moderate on down the road as well. So certainly we'll be continuing to watch all of these gauges over the days to come with the warmer temperatures continuing and the rainfall in the forecast. So like we said, today we've got showers and thunderstorms already going. We have the potential later on today and this evening, some locally heavy rainfall, some gusty winds with some of these storms over 45 miles an hour. The smallest risk will be that small hail potential. Tomorrow, very similar conditions over some areas, and the threat of locally heavy rainfall and gusty winds continues with showers and thunderstorms on a daily basis through Friday at a minimum. We may see a pattern shift a little bit over Memorial Day weekend, but still showers and thunderstorms are currently in the forecast over a good chunk of our area. Have a great Tuesday, and do stay safe out there, everyone.